This is the week. This is the week we could win the league. All eyes on Saturday at Tannadice, and as long as we avoid defeat, the title is coming home. There's just something in the air this time. Maybe it's the rhythm of the season falling into place, or maybe it's just the buzz that you feel when the whole thing is within touching distance. I'm in a good mood. I can't lie, maybe even too good a mood. So apologies if I burst into a wee song somewhere along the way. It's just that kind of week. Now while we're all dreaming of the party to come, there's still loads to look. Back on from the weekend, Sunday's match gave us a proper glimpse of what this team's capable of when the attitude is spot on. Brendan Rodgers said it himself. Humility, work ethic, the right mindset. That's what makes the difference, especially when you're Celtic. Every team that lines up against us treats it like their final. They give everything. So if we're even 5% off it, we get punished. We've seen that in the last few months, haven't we? But these past couple of matches, you can feel the switch. The team's locked in again. Rodgers was full of praise after the win against St. Johnstone at Hampden. He highlighted Callum McGregor. And to be fair, what else is new? The man is pure class. He's not just a player. He's a leader, a coach on the park. Always popping up in the right moments, dictating tempo, finding space. That opening goal, classic McGregor. Driving forward, picking his moment, and then bang, ball's in the net and Hampden erupts. He's not known for bagging dozens, but the big goals, the important ones, that's his trademark. He's now hit double figures for the third time. In a Celtic shirt, and there's just something about Hampden that brings the best out of him. Think back. Cup final against Motherwell, semi against Rangers, and now this one. Big moments, big goals, big player. There was also a lot to like from the rest of the side. Adam Ida, for example. Brendan reckons he can score more like that goal from the Hatate cross. The instincts were spot on. Nearly got himself a second just after the break too. And it was either James Forrest or someone else who whipped it in. And Ida was a toe away from burying it again. Rodgers is clearly keen to see him get into those areas more often. And rightly so. That kind of poacher's instinct is what separates decent strikers from deadly ones. Liam Scales had himself a decent game as well. Had a hand in that goal from Hatate, and apparently there was a moment just before where he should have passed to Rio but didn't, and Rio wasn't best pleased. But they went again, ball came back, and this time Scales made the right call. Slipped him in, and what a goal it was. Actually, if you've not rewatched it yet, the full match is up on the Scottish Cup's YouTube channel. They've done this. Wee tactical cam thing with a mini pitch down in the corner, showing player positions like in FIFA names over the tops of their heads, shot speeds, all that fun stuff. It's a cracking way to get a different angle on things. And how about Brendan Rodgers' record at Hampden? 14 games, 14 wins. That's not just good, that's outrageous. But you can see why. The way he talks about it, I think every single match was his debut. The hunger to drive, it's constant. Nobody's more motivated to win than me, he said. And you believe him. He demands everything from his players, from his staff, from himself. He's not in this for the routine. He wants excellence every single time. And that mentality, it bleeds into the players. You can see it in the way they fight for everything, even when it's not all flowing perfectly. Scales himself said something interesting after the game. Said maybe they needed that wake-up call. You know the one, the horror show up at McDermott Park. He reckons that was the slap in the face they needed to really reset. And to be fair, since then they've scored 4 goals in the first half of each of the last 2 matches. That's not a coincidence. The intensity's back, the tempo, the hunger. Alistair Johnston said something similar after the Kilmarnock game, that sometimes you need the low to appreciate the climb. So maybe that Perth disaster ends up being the turning point. Callum McGregor said something else that stuck with me. Said he and Rodgers had a chat before the gaffer came back about trying to win as much as possible. About being dominant, hungry, addicted to success. And that word, addicted, that's the mindset. When winning becomes the standard when playing, well becomes the bare minimum. That's what Celtic's about. You normalize the pressure, you embrace the expectations, and you thrive under them. And Hampden's become our playground, honestly. The way this team handles big games, there is unreal. It's no longer daunting. It's familiar. And familiarity brings confidence. Look at the amount of games we play there. Easily more than any other club in Scotland. Cup semis, finals, the lot. Guys like McGregor and Forrest have been through it all. But even the newer lads, Carter Vickers, Hatade and Maeda, they've barely tasted defeat at the National Stadium. Since Rodgers first came in, we've lost there once. One semi-final to Rangers in 2022, and even that went to extra time. That's over nearly a decade. So when you hear folks say penalty shootouts are a lottery, not with this team. It's not luck, it's composure. We've handled back-to-back shootouts in recent times and won both. Why? Because we've got the bottle. We keep our heads when it matters. Now, there were also some interesting words from Ari Engt. He's been settling into life in Scotland, not just on the pitch, but off it too. Says his family loves it here. Not sure if that means they're living here or just popping in now and then, but either way, sounds like they're happy. He also said he's not bothered by the transfer fee tag. Over £1 million record fee paid to Augsburg. Folk always yap about it, but he says he tunes that out. Still young, still learning. He said, and he's right. It's all about growth and enjoying the process. And you can see he's embracing it. One thing he did highlight was the contrast between games. The mental shift. One day it's the Champions League, under the lights, massive occasion noise like you've never heard. The next thing you know, you're up in Dingwall playing Ross County on a freezing afternoon. That's the Celtic way. The highs and lows in a space of days. And that's what makes it unique. Not many clubs in the world throw you into that kind of football culture. But Eng seems to get it. He likes being the big dog domestically, being the team that everyone wants to beat. And you know what? That's the perfect mindset. Because that's who we are. We're Celtic. We're the standard. Now, as we head into this final stretch of the season, you can feel it. The mood in the camp is shifting. It's lighter, more focused, full of belief. A couple weeks back after that nightmare in Perth, the atmosphere was heavy, full of doubt. But now you sense that fire coming back. Players are smiling again, but you can see it's not complacency. It's confidence. A belief that they've rediscovered the formula. And maybe, just maybe, that was the moment we needed to wake up and go, again. There's 6 games left and the treble is right there, right within reach. What Brendan Rodgers and Callum McGregor keep coming back to is that word, success. Not just as a goal, but as a habit. That feeling you get from lifting a trophy, from hearing the crowd explode when the final whistle goes, from seeing the green and white ribbons tied around that silverware. It gets in your blood. It becomes who you are. That's what Rodgers said when he came back. And McGregor echoed it. We win, then we want to win again. And again. It's not about ticking a box. It's about building a culture where anything less than winning isn't acceptable. And look, that's what separates Celtic, the relentlessness. You don't get to switch off for a single match. Not when every other team sees you as a scalp. Not when the weight of history sits on your shoulders. But that's what makes the win so sweet. That's what makes lifting that league trophy feel like more than just 3 points. It's a statement. It's a reward for every battle fought on cold Wednesday nights in places most folk couldn't even find on a map. And that's what we're staring down this Saturday at Tannadice. One more fight, one more result, and then we party. And when you think about Celtic winning the league, especially under Rodgers, there's a wee pattern, isn't there? Back in 2017, the invincible season, we wrapped it up with a 5-0 win over Hearts at Tynecastle. A year later, 5-0 again, but this time against Rangers at Celtic Park. Fast forward to last season, away at Kilmarnock, another 5-0. So if you're a fan of omens, you might be eyeing up this weekend like, aye, here we go again. That's the Rodgers way. When we go win the league, we do it with a bang. And that's the thing with Brendan. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to do it with style, with intent. He talks a lot about humility, about staying grounded, but don't mistake that for lacking ambition. He's as driven as they come. You can see it in the way he prepares these boys, in the way the squad has started to click into gear again. He never accepts that things are just fine. It's either excellent or not good enough. And when you got that mentality at the top, it trickles through the whole organization. But let's drift for a second to a name we've not heard in a while. Kieran Tierney. Aye, he's on his way back. And who's been speaking about it? None other than John McGinn. Bit of a surprise, to be honest. Thought he'd be too busy focusing on Aston Villa's push in England. But when Celtic comes up in conversation, it always pulls you in. McGinn's clearly buzzing for Tierney, calling him a brilliant footballer and saying he'll bring that extra touch of quality to a squad already bursting with it. He said Celtic is KT's club, and you know what? He's spot on. You don't fake that kind of connection. You don't buy that kind of passion. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Will we ever see John McGinn in a Celtic shirt? He's still got a couple of years left on his Villa deal, and by the time that's done, he'll be 32. Not impossible. Stranger things have happened. Maybe not the McGinn of old, but even a seasoned version could add to something. And you've got Andy Robertson as well, another one who bleeds green and white deep down. You never say never. Football's funny like that. Speaking of old friends, Moussa Dembele's name popped up recently. Still out in Saudi playing for Al-Ettifaq, though he's had a rough run with injuries. Ruptured his Achilles back in February, so he's likely out for most of 2025. But the man's been keeping himself busy. Turns out he's been in football ownership for a while now. Since 2019, he's been president of a club in Mali as Manza through his investment group, and now they've taken over. A Lithuanian side FK Manija, proper football man, even if he's still only 28. Imagine that. Dembele, president of a football club at 28. He always carried himself like someone older, someone who had that big picture view. Still one of the best strikers we've had at Celtic in the modern era. Champions League level proper class. Scored big goals in big games. Folks sometimes forget he went to Atletico Madrid and technically won the league with them. Didn't play a huge role, but still he's got the medal. His time in Lyon wasn't bad either. And now, maybe he's thinking beyond playing. Maybe Celtic fans should keep an eye on him. Who knows? Future boardroom material, director of football, chief executive, stranger things have happened. At the very least, he'd bring a bit of Twitter spice. But bringing it back to now and back to what matters, this week is all about the title. Everything we've done this season leads to this. And while folk outside the club might think we've coasted, those of us who've watched every minute know it hasn't been easy. Injuries, dips in form, tough away days, mental fatigue. It's been a grind, but we're here now. We've put ourselves in position, and with a win, or even just a point, we cross the line. There's a real buzz around Lennoxtown this week. You can feel it in the interviews, in the training ground clips, even in the fan chatter. This is the week, not just to win, but to win in style. To remind everybody who runs this league, to lay down a marker, not just for this season, but for the seasons to come. And that's what Celtic does. We don't just lift trophies, we build legacies. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Amid the hush of the early morning hours, Celtic Football Club sealed a deal that could shape the course of their midfield for seasons to come. Amy McGrath, one of the most sought-after talents in Scottish football, has accepted a late-night offer to join the Hoops, bringing an end to a whirlwind period of negotiations that stretched well into the small hours. The transfer saga had kept fans and club insiders alike on edge, with talks intensifying over the past 48 hours. Celtic, determined to reinforce their squad ahead of a crucial phase in the league and Europe, made McGrath a priority target. The 25-year-old midfielder, who had attracted interest from several other Premiership sides, was reportedly swayed by the club's vision, the prospect of European nights at Parkhead, and the chance to work under Brendan Rodgers. Sources close to the negotiation confirmed that the breakthrough came around 3 a.m., following a series of high-stakes meetings involving McGrath's representatives and Celtic officials. The player is said to have been impressed not only by the financial terms, but by the sporting project presented to him, one that places him at the heart of Celtic's plans going forward. McGrath, known for his creativity, work rate, and ability to control the tempo of the game, is expected to add depth and versatility to the midfield. His arrival could also spell a tactical shift for Rodgers, offering more flexibility in a squad already brimming with talent, but in need of fresh impetus following recent challenges in domestic and continental fixtures. The deal is set to be officially announced later today, with McGrath expected in Glasgow for a medical before putting pen to paper. For Celtic fans, the news brings a wave of optimism, not only for what McGrath brings on the pitch, but for what it signals: ambition, intent, and a clear statement that the club is ready to compete at the highest levels once again. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.